Hey, welcome to this channel. In this video I want to share with you my mission in life and how I got to that mission. And my mission in life is simply to prevent chronic illness from happening in people. And how I do that with people is that I coach them on their health, on their performance, to make sure that they have a good lifestyle, a good health, and they minimize the chances of becoming ill. And the reason that I got into this is due to a personal story. And I might have shared it before on the channel, but about 3 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. And our world completely turned upside down in that moment. Like, I still remember 3 years ago, it was in April 3 years ago, that my father and my mother called and they said it was bad. It's not something that's good and we need to talk about it. And they said that it was cancer and that it was probably coming from somewhere else in her body because cancer doesn't typically get found in the bones. So after some more testing, they found out it was metastatic breast cancer, and metastatic breast cancer basically means that your 10-year survival rate is only 8%. And that made me question, like, hey, why do people become chronically ill? And it made me research even more into why it kept on happening and happening. And that's when I also found out that, for example, here in the Netherlands, there are over 10 million people that have a chronic illness. That over 50% of the people have too much weight. They are overweight in one shape or form. And I started asking myself the question, like, how does that happen? And I also got in touch, or I found out about Peter Attia. Dr. Peter Attia is a longevity doctor that has clients such as Elon Musk, Chris Hemsworth, and loads of other high-profile clients. And that's when I found out about the mission of Medicine 3.0. And Medicine 3.0 is a shift in the way we do healthcare from treatment to prevention. So if we look at the current healthcare system, it's focused a lot on when something happens, what do we do at that moment? So for example, the moment that I get cancer, what do we do at that point, and how can we make sure that when someone gets cancer, they get treated in the best way? What Medicine 3.0 is talking about is the question of, hey, why do we actually become ill in the first place? And how can we prevent ourselves from becoming ill so we don't have to actually treat ourselves? And that's when you get into the realm of first testing a lot, so making sure that you know where your body is, and focusing on preventative healthcare measures. So what is the example of that? If we go back to the example I had with my mother, is that if the cancer would have been found if it was in stage 1, then her 10-year chances of surviving were 89%. So that means 89% of the people that get diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer, they still live after 10 years. My mother, because she has metastatic breast cancer, only has an 8% chance of surviving for 10 years. So without even talking about lifestyle, the first step that we should actually take in our healthcare system right now is to do more testing and to screen more for diseases that we have. Because if we find diseases at an early stage, the chance of us solving or curing that disease is way higher than when it's already been manifested into the later stages. So that's the first part of where my mission came from and what Medicine 3.0 is. The second part is lifestyle, and I'll make another video about this, going in depth about it. But basically, if you only look at VO2 max, VO2 max is a measure of basically your cardio fitness. For example, pro cyclists, they have a very high VO2 max. That's to do with your lung capacity. And what they found in studies is that if your VO2 max is in the lowest group versus someone that has an above average VO2 max, your chances of dying increase by 60 to 70%. And that is just how fit you are. And that basically means that you have less chance to become chronically ill and to have certain diseases. So instead of what we are doing right now with our society, where we are just focusing on what do we need to do if someone becomes ill, we need to shift that question into how can we prevent people from becoming ill. And we can do that again through testing and through implementing lifestyle measures. Because what if everyone in this world would have a high VO2 max? What would that do to the amount of deaths that we have, the amount of life energy that we would have? That's the world that I believe in, and that is the world that, also due to the personal story I've had with my mother, that is the world that I want to stand for, and that's where I want to lead people towards, because I honestly believe that's the world we should go towards. For example, if you have a higher risk of heart disease, so maybe in your family there are a lot of people with heart disease, then instead of just going about our lives, what if we would do a yearly blood test? We would find out what the level is of the biggest markers of cardiovascular disease. And if we would, for example, already see in our 30s that that measure is rising and rising, then that is already putting damage on our arteries, and that will cause maybe a heart attack in 20 years. But that heart attack in 20 years, it isn't like all of a sudden, like 1 year you eat some bad foods and then you have a higher chance of heart disease. No, it's something that's already building up for years and years and years. And if we could track that and we could see that and we know what we could do about it with the supervision of doctors, then we could prevent that chronic illness from happening altogether. And that's the whole point of Medicine 3.0, prevention rather than treatment. So instead of putting all our money in finding the best cure for cancer, why don't we put all that money in making the people we have right now healthier so they don't become chronically ill? That means that we don't have to spend as much in the hospitals. That means that our insurance bill goes down. Everything becomes better for that. That's a world where I believe in. And that's also why Jamar and me created our company Health 3.0. So it has to do with Medicine 3.0, but of course we are not doctors. So that's also not what we're saying here. It's not that we are going to screen you for cancer, but we do see, and also due to our personal stories, that your health and your lifestyle has a big effect on your chances of becoming chronically ill. If you are an entrepreneur and you're putting your business first and your health second, and you're overloading yourself with stress, you're not working out, you're not sleeping as well, then your chances of becoming chronically ill massively increase. That's why Jamar and me have founded this company, because we see that entrepreneurs are having that problem. They are having problems with brain fog, low energy, poor mental concentration, basically symptoms of burnout, and that makes sure that they can't be the best version of themselves for their partner, for their spouse, and they can't enjoy the finer things in life. That's why what we do with Health 3.0 is that we let you sleep, eat, work and work out 10 times more effectively. So you keep on doing the same things, but you do them more effectively. You will generate more energy, more mental clarity. And the biggest thing for us, maybe that's not a reason why you would want to do something like this, but the biggest reason for us is that we minimize your chances of becoming chronically ill. Because we have seen with our personal stories what kind of effect it has on a family if someone has a chronic illness, and we want to prevent that from happening, one entrepreneur at a time. Because the entrepreneurs, they have the biggest impact on their surroundings, on their teams, and that's the grander vision we have, but for now we're focused on entrepreneurs. So that's why I do what I do, and I'm also curious, what is your mission in life? Share it in the comments below and we'll go deep into it.